Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to another amazing episode of The Closing Table. I am your host, James Garman.
This is your boy, Daniel White, ready to go Thursday morning. Let's
Thursday
go.
morning. Man, this week went by so fast, yeah?
Dude, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I was saying that to someone yesterday. You know, my grandfather always used to say to me, don't blink your eye. Don't blink because it'll go by like that. And, man, I feel like we were just here on Monday and, you know, I'm looking back at the calendar doing like a pulse check yesterday to make sure I've met all my meetings and all my deadlines, you know?
I mean, because overall, bro, it's really, surprising how much you get done in such a short amount of time. You know, like days, nights go by so freaking fast. And then once you reflect on how much you actually got, completed or, you were able to complete, it's like, man, that was a successful week, right?
Yeah. That's like my thing on Wednesday. That's what I do on Wednesdays is that I always check back just to make sure on Wednesday that, I've hit everything that I've needed to hit so far up until that point, and of course it's difficult, James, to hit every single meeting, but, then I'll put it over to Thursday, Friday. And again, another packed 2 days. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I'm super proud of everything that is happening and that has happened for not just myself and you, but our overall team. Our overall team right now is grinding. It's like, and it's amazing that we are able to have the success we're having right now in such a market where a lot of people are complaining. A lot of people are like, this is happening, this is not happening. I can't get what I'm trying to get because everybody, it's just that type of mindset that kind of stops you from growing. And I know everybody don't have the mindset or can't tap into the mindset to continue to be positive and look for the best outcomes in these situations, especially financially. I totally get it, but it does take a certain mindset to get there. And I'm proud of the team right now.
I'm 100% with you on that one, my friend. 100%. The partners are grinding every single day. I think before we even started this podcast and you and I were just having our normal Sunday meetings, one of the things that I think came up a couple of times when we were planning all of this out, James, was it's going to be consistency. I think consistency came up. I think for me, it was educate yourselves, understand the market, prepare yourself. And I'd have to say, I think we're at like 15, 17 partners right now.
Yeah,
and,
man, it was crazy. We started this thing with 3 people.
With 3 people, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, how do you think I built, James? I started by myself. It was a little nervous. I was like, okay, I'll take on this big role. I don't know what the hell to do.
We figured it out, man. We definitely figured it out.
And so, from the leaders up top to the partners in this group and everybody, it's nice, man, to see everybody putting in maximum effort. And that's what it takes to be successful, especially in, if people want to call it a reset or a down market, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, indeed. With that being said, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in, joining us every Monday and Thursday, 6:45 a.m. to 7:45 a.m.
Hit the like button.
Yeah, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you haven't already, especially if you're on YouTube. It's definitely beneficial to help us grow in this channel. If you're on Facebook, if you're watching us on Facebook and you want to join on YouTube, just type in The Closing Table Podcast and we should pop right up. But yeah, if you're on Facebook, please share this to a family member or somebody that could benefit from this conversation every week. And honestly, I think me and Daniel have done a great job with staying consistent, bringing you unique topics, interviews from other agents and other people in the field. And we're going to continue to stay consistent and drive it home. So I appreciate you all. And I just want to say that every week, and I'm going to continue to say it every week. So
I mimic those words as well. I'm trying to work with my attorney friend in reference to like businesses and setting up LLCs and how important it is and all that stuff. See if we can get him here on Thursday morning. Especially since it's summertime, he don't got to take his kids to school or anything like that. He don't have an excuse,
Yeah, he has no excuse at this point, right?
I know he's busy, but James, I know we got a topic to talk about. But
yes, indeed.
Did you see yesterday? Because on Monday we talked about AI and all of that stuff, and I kind of joked with a family member afterwards, and I was like, "I'm gonna get one for you so that I don't have to worry about you anymore." And I was told, don't you dare," right? So, but yesterday the government, right? Didn't they have a meeting of how to monitor and regulate AI? Did you see that?
No, man, you didn't. I did not. I must have missed that, bro. I did not
So
catch
yeah,
that.
I saw it this morning. So it's three. I think they're talking about it for 3 days, and I'm not gonna lie, man. It was a packed house. It's not. It's not like some other votes or some other topics of the conversation with the government there and the people of the Senate and representatives and all that stuff. It was a packed house
Wow.
discussing what type of regulation should be in place and all that stuff. And again, unfortunately, I'll dig more into it over this weekend because that's very interesting, being that that's the hottest topic
Yeah,
on the
definitely.
Google search right now,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Or just in the Chat GPT arena where we don't even have to Google search anymore, right? But yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. I'm definitely gonna keep my eye out for that. I actually that must have skipped me, passed me by, but I'm definitely looking forward to having more conversations wrapped around this AI and how it's going to affect us on an economic scale, social scale, and just period. So
I saw
definitely,
it firsthand yesterday. Set up an entire meeting schedule.
yeah, that's
Gave
crazy.
it topics and it boom, 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 gave a 45-minute presentation.
Presentation, yeah, and
That's
definitely. Is that why you was reaching out to me? Hey, what Chat GPT you're using, man? I gotta have this.
I was like, all right, look, like I don't want to be, I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. I don't want to be a fool. I don't want to be calling my pants down. I want to know what's going on, and it works. It's
Yes, man, it
crazy.
works.
It,
It definitely works.
you put it, you think you sound fantastic when you set your speech. If you put it in there, they make it sound that much better. It's crazy.
And again, if I was one of those people that could actually read a presentation and be confident in delivering in what I'm reading, I would. And Bernadette actually she introduced me to one that would set it up that way, and it just didn't. It wasn't me. Once I got to going through it, it was like, no, this isn't me. This is not my flow. And if it had something to reference, then maybe it would have been better. But it wasn't my flow. So, but yeah. Well, with that being said,
Well, it's a robot, right? Or it's the internet, so it's probably dry. It's probably one of those real,
oh, it's super. It was super dry. It was super
yeah,
dry. It
exactly.
wasn't my person. Now I could have probably
Don't
put
worry.
my sauce on it, but it was dry.
The
Yeah.
personality's coming in 6 days with AI.
Yeah. And again, welcome everybody. Real quick, let's go through it. Good morning, Dolores. Good morning, Destiny. Great to see everybody back. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, B. Walker, who says share and subscribe. Because they opened a door they can't close. That is true. That is true. You should have known it wasn't Jane. Y'all would have known it wasn't Jane. Oh, right. You would have definitely known it wasn't me. That's definitely facts. Yeah, it just didn't feel right. But yeah, with that being said, today we got a very special topic. So if you're in here right now and you're tuned in, I hope that you all really don't be shy. I think what we get a lot of times is a lot of people are shy and they are, hesitant to jump into the conversation, but we want you to jump into this conversation. We want to get your, perspectives and opinions on these conversations so we can also kind of fluff out and feel out the audience just a little bit. So definitely feel free to jump in and give us your perspectives on this topic.
James, is it a couple things, right? Like, have you ever felt this? Is it being shy, or is it people are just worried about what someone else thinks about them,
And
or they're
again,
worried
that's
about mistyping
oh
something and not
yeah,
being
again,
perfect?
forget all of that crap, man.
Yeah,
Listen,
exactly, man. That
I misspell
I mean,
shit all
we
the
talk
time.
about it like that's the issue. Like, everybody's like, oh well, I don't want to say this, or I don't want to ask this question, or I don't want to do this. And it's like, if you don't, I'm sure somebody else, we've all heard it, somebody else in the room is thinking that question and they're doing the same thing. Just ask the question,
Just ask the
right?
question. Yeah, I
Like,
don't care about misspell words. I have a college degree, and
yeah.
I still misspell words. I mean, that means nothing. I mean, people know what you're trying to say. That's all that
Yep.
matters, to
Yep.
me,
Exactly.
anyways. But
Exactly.
yeah, today we're talking about the past and how it can hurt your tomorrow. The reason why I wanted to have this topic is because I see in a lot of our society structure, a lot of us are hell bent on living through our living through our past and living through our mistakes and living through the choices that we've made, the words we've said, you know, just the decisions that have been haunting us for so long. And I think, you know, a lot of times we sweep our mistakes under the rug and not face them, not actually look at them and say, hey, this is what happened. This is what happened to me. This is where I come from. And I'm okay with that because I think that's the best way to move forward in life.
Most people still live in the past, and that's tough, right? You're not going to get ahead. You're not going to be successful in whatever success is that you want if you continue to live in the past and make excuses why you're not where you are because of the past. Like you wake up every single day like everybody else, right? There's a saying, you got to make today great. Well, go out there and make it great, right? Like change what is happening or what has happened in the past and stop dwelling on that past. Write it down, paint a picture, say it to yourself 100 times every morning when you wake up. You know, like we've got to stop beating ourselves up and blaming the past for why we're not where we want to be or where we should be or where we thought we were going to be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? Because it's never, ever too late. Like it is not too late. We've got a guy that I've been talking to. He is 65 years old, retired, you know, not very comfortable where he's at. He still needs to work. And he's like, perfect. I'm going to go work for XYZ for another 15 years and then I'll have another retirement. Yeah, he'll be 80 years old, but you know, like he's not quitting. He's making it happen. So
I totally agree with that, man. The past is something that I think is our biggest, you know, Achilles heel. Most people live in the past because they can't perceive the future, and they're afraid of the present. And overall, we constantly live in this fear that the world isn't going to change. And let's go back just a little bit. And again, this could be a little sensitive for some people. But again, I mean, I was just as we just mentioned, I'm not the type to stray away from a real conversation. So for me, I mean, we have so many people who live in the past that they bring the past into our present, and then they want to push that past into our future. We go back to 1960s, 1965, when the civil rights movement began, and everybody was fighting for what they was considering integration in our society. We had people who felt like they was being left out. But at the same time, we had striving communities for what was considered the minority in a majority ran country of people who they felt were superior in so many cases. Um, Today, the crazy part about it is we still see that in the streets. We still see people marching. We still see people rioting, protesting for equality when overall equality was given to you back then. Now, the perception of that equality is I think it's individualized. Everybody has their own perception of what that freedom looked like. I myself come from a place where we or myself and other people have been taught that, you know, there's somebody with their foot on your neck. Like as I just mentioned, I have a college degree. I also have student debt, just like another person has student debt who has a degree. I have opportunities. I've had jobs. I've never been straight away from jobs. I've never been. I've never not received a job because of my skin color. I think I've not received that job overall because I didn't have the experience. And then we go to the part where people say, "Well, if I don't have the experience because I've never had the job, how do I get the job?" Well, they have these things called interning. You know, most people get their experience through interning, but people don't like working for free, right? But that's a risk that we all have to take. Not just everybody gets what everybody thinks they deserve. Is some routes that we have to take that some people are not willing to take. They want things handed to them, and I come from that society. I come from that culture. I come from that place where we are still pushing that narrative that our government, our political leaders, and certain people or certain races are keeping us from being able to go forward. When I totally disagree with that overall.
James, I want to talk on the internship that you talked about, right? Because that's investing in yourself. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing an internship for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whether you get paid or you don't get paid, to figure out if this position, if this job and what it is something that you want to continue on. Because, you know, you don't want to look at a job because you can make six figures or more than that, right? You want a job that you can make good money, make a good living, but you also want to be happy. So an internship is fantastic. I mean, I think right now, again, high school, college, whatever you're finishing up, trade school, getting an insurance license, real estate license, whatever it is, finding somebody that will accept you in to do an internship to see if that career path is the right path for you, I think is amazing, right? And most of the time, when you're doing an internship, you're finding somebody that is pretty successful in his or her business. So you definitely want to, hey, I'll do all the grunt work, everything that is required to learn this trade. And then at the end of your 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is, you're going to know, is this right for me? Is this what I want to continue to do? Does this wake me up every single morning when that alarm clock goes off? Do I get up out of bed and do I hit the road running, or do I hit the snooze button? So I love the internships.
Most people hit the snooze button because that's what they've been taught to do. You know, they've been taught to wait for an opportunity to be given to them versus working towards it. I had that mentality. I can't sit up here and lie. I had that mentality because, again, I was taught that from the past. My past used to be, well, you're owed this. And we've had this conversation on here multiple times where, reparations are needed, or, just stuff like that. We are in a society where people still are thinking that I don't have to work for something. My grandparents, my grandmother, my great grand ancestor was put through this for me to have this, so you should be giving me this. We still have that handout mentality, and that's what I think a lot of people fail to realize. There's a difference between a handout, and someone giving you a hand up. I think a handout people get comfortable with. They look at it as a handout,
They don't appreciate it.
They don't appreciate it. They think of it as a long-term play. I grew up in a society, and again, you probably can attest to this. You've known people, if you not grew up in it yourself. Majority of the people I grew up with were government babies, government families. They were, welfare babies, welfare families, and that became generational. My grandmother, even though she worked, she still received government benefits. My mother received government benefits. My sisters received government benefits. My brother, not so much, hardworking young man, always worked, but at some point, I'm pretty sure he'll be leaning on those government benefits if he got tired. Myself, I never even wanted to go get food stamps when in the time where I could have. I've always tried to look for another way out of that government subsidized living because it's comfortable. They give you just enough to be comfortable, but not enough to gripe. You might gripe, but you're not gonna fight it. You know what I mean? It's not enough to fight, but it's enough to say, you know what? At least I'm getting this. And as long as you have that ability to say, at least I'm getting this, then you're going to always be okay with that. And I wasn't. I wasn't. That's why I feel like I'm a little bit different than a lot of people I grew up with.
James, were you the first one in your family to finish college?
Yes, first one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Okay,
yep.
All right.
My sisters, my brother claimed he got his GED, but there's never been any proof of it. So,
okay, we can't go to the high school document library and find out. Okay.
So we're going to give him that one, But that's a big play. That's a big play on epigenetics, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, of how epigenetics plays a huge role in who we are and how we hold so much of our family's DNA. If you do research on epigenetics, you will find out that there's 14 generations of memories inside your DNA. 14 generations of memory. If you go on ancestry.com, if you've done your family tree, well, just real quick, mine, if I pulled up mine right now, people will be shocked. I literally have I'm personally being honest. I think I have inbreeding in my family. My people are up in by Wisconsin, somewhere up in the mountains, deep mountains. But they come from England. My father was a mixed man. His mother was white. His father was a black man. So on that basis, my DNA says I should not be where I am today. I should not be where I'm at today. I mean, you talking about mountain people. That's where I come from, you know. But overall, is that who I am? That's the big questions about epigenetics that I think we don't look at. Just because I come from something, don't mean that's who I am. So
No, absolutely, right? I mean, like, but you change the path, right? Because what you're saying is in the past where you should be, you're not there because you took a turn somewhere and decided, like, I'm gonna make that change.
yeah,
Like,
and I agree. And it's something about hacking your DNA. I think it's a certain type of energy that allows you to hack your DNA so you don't end up as your DNA is structured. And and that's something that a lot of people don't have the energy or the power to do. I'm not saying that it's some superpower, but it definitely takes you being able to look at yourself in a whole different way.
correct, correct. You know, like for me growing up, James, when we talk about it, right? Like when I feel like the world is weighing on my shoulders and stuff like that, I look back at three particular people in my life. In my mother and my father had me at 16 years old, right? Like that's way too young. Uh, but my mother to this day still works. My grandmother retired after like 45 years as a nurse, and my grandfather grinded away. And I always looked as a kid and I was like, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. And that's always been my mindset, is that I've always looked at those three, to be honest with you, as my superheroes, because they always made things happen for me. And again, I wasn't the best kid in high school. My mother will definitely contest to that, right? My grandparents probably don't know half the stuff that I did, but I always respected them and I always saw the drive and the will. And my mother and I mean, I can't say that we even lived paycheck to paycheck when we were there, because I don't know how she did it. But you know, those three have always wanted me to do better. And so in my past, I I just feed off of that. You know what I'm saying?
And you're supposed to. I mean,
Yeah.
because I don't think we have kids for our kids to continue our hardships. You know, I don't think that's our.
Yeah, I don't think that's our goal at
I
all.
don't
It's
think
like,
that's
man, we
our
want their lives to be easier.
right.
We want them to work too. You know?
Agree. And again, I don't think we have children with the mindset to say, I'm having this child because I want someone to experience my hardship. I
Yeah.
don't think that's our goals. But somewhere on that path, when we do see, and again, we can break down the numbers. When we see our child or a certain parents, of course, certain parents, not all parents, we see our children surpassing where we currently are, we start to look at them as, well, damn, that could have been me. I gave all my time and energy to having you, and I missed out on my goals. I missed out on my success. I missed out on what I wanted to do. There's a lot of parents that are out there who wish that they were in the shoes of their children, and then they hate their children because their children didn't follow in the mistakes that they made. They actually went out and pursued the things that they seen outside of what was given to them as kids. And I'm grateful to have a mother who always wanted to see me be great. She always seemed to have this, or had this notion that one of her children was going to be a winning seed. And honestly, she's definitely wanted to see all her kids be amazing. But honestly, realism states that that's not possible. Each child has their own path that they're going to walk. Overall, the willpower, as B. Walker stated, is something that we got to have. Something that you had, Danny. Something that you have today. Because at any moment, we can all fall victim to our past. We all can all fall victim to our DNA structure. And I do see Destiny said genetics doesn't dictate who you are or will be. Well, I agree to disagree on a basis that it does, but it takes the person to change that DNA structure, because DNA is the most powerful thing on this planet. Our DNA does so much. It replicates the diseases that our parents had. That's why when you go to the doctor, the doctor asks you, "Is there any history of heart disease? Is there any history of diabetes? Is there any history of this and that?" Because those things are replicated and passed down in our genetics. Depression is passed down, schizophrenia is passed down, mental disorders altogether, stuff like that is passed down, because that's who we are. That we are built to replicate our basis point. But overall, it shouldn't dictate it. That's the thing about it. It shouldn't. It does, but it shouldn't, because we as individuals have that ability to change our future in this structure that we have built called society.
James, I want to throw a curveball really quick. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
Right now, we have a lot of high schools, graduation, seniors entering this world right now. Just coming off of COVID, interest rates are great. Looks like the economy is booming and it's going to continue to go. People are making massive amounts of money. Rates start going up, all the negative talk. US dollars dropping its value, this country's taken over here, all of that stuff. What advice, being that you're 32 years old, like that, 32 years old?
Man, you gave me 6-year discount. I appreciate it. I'll take that 6-year discount.
I know. 32 years old, brand new, 18, young man, young woman. What advice do you give them right now? They've got their diploma in hand. They don't know what to do.
Honestly, you want the real answer? You want the sugar? The sugar?
I mean, I would say that the people watching want the real answer, James.
All right. Well, let me
give me the sugarcoat one.
Yeah, let me give you the real answer then. The real answer is only 1% of that generation, that population, 1%. Let's do the easy numbers. Out of 100 graduates, only one is going to be rich. 4 of them will be financially independent. 5 will still be working, and 54 will be broke by the time they're 65.
It's funny that you say that. It's funny you say that. I'll let you go on, right? Just today.
And the rest will be dead. But go ahead.
So there was a stat today. 57% of Americans right now, whether they're making $40,000 a year or $140,000 or more a year, still live paycheck to paycheck, don't have $1,000 in their checking account for an emergency or savings account for an emergency accident. That's scary, right? That is scary. And it's funny because we don't teach that.
We don't teach that.
We don't teach that.
We don't. And that's what, honestly, I despise the school structure so much these days. And honestly, as I look back on my own school structure, it wasn't any better, but I feel like it was teaching me a lot more today. I mean, then than these kids are learning today. Again, we come from the Industrial Revolution, where we was teaching kids how to use machinery. Now it's almost no point even teaching kids that, because we have things like AI, which we've been talking about for weeks now, months now. And is we're teaching our kids how to be poor. We're teaching our kids how to sustain a lifestyle of mediocrity. And overall, I think that we're going to continue to push that narrative, because again, realistically, the numbers do not lie, will not lie, haven't lied in centuries. Only 1% are going to be great to the extent that they're going to be a Mark Zuckerberg, and 4% is literally going to be average, and the rest of them are going to die trying to reach a goal, or die trying to just keep their head above water. I mean, it's a horrible fact, but it's true. And most of the people that live that lifestyle are just statistics. Not saying they're just numbers because I want them to be, but they're statistics because we choose to be. I was just a number. I'm still just a number today because I haven't done enough to add value to our society. The best way to get out of that mentality is to find a way to add real value to our society. I don't think we're walking around on a daily basis looking for a real way to add value. Like we have a technology based society that are stuck in their phones watching YouTube videos, watching funny videos, watching people fight, watching pornographic videos all day. It's like we live in this society now that is hell bent on satisfying our boredom, and there's no real value in adding to society that way. So that's just my opinion. So
Yep. When I look at the high school graduates right now, I'm sure you and I would say, soak it in, take the graduation, you accomplish something. This is the first step to your future. Whether you want to believe that or not, this is the very first step. All 12 years of education have led up to this moment, right? Soak it in, take it in, 30 days. Look at your surroundings. Look at your friends. Look at your close circle. There's at least 5 people there that you could probably eliminate in your life that aren't going to do anything for you.
Eliminate them like that.
Like
facts.
100%, man. I wish I would have known that at 18 years old. Like I didn't. I still wanted to hang out. I wanted to be cool with all my friends and all that stuff. And I feel like I lost time in doing that, right? And I've had to do it now as a business owner, as a partner with other people. Like we've had friends in the past that it was all negative talk. Like I do not want to socialize with that type of conversation. You've got to be able to learn and step away. So any young new graduate heading into this big crazy world, like look at yourself, do some pulse checking, look at your surroundings and your friends and your circle. If you surround yourself around successful people, or they don't even have to be successful, if they are hardworking, driven people that want to be successful, you're going to move on. It's like playing golf, James. If I go out with a group of guys and I have a group of buddies that, I don't know how to play golf neither, but we do not know how to play golf. Like we go through 18 holes, we probably go through 40 golf balls. But now I can go out with my grandfather who knows how to play golf, and I'm decent, like it's your surrounding and who you're with. So, that's my take, is make sure that you eliminate now, not later, now, the negative talk, the people that you can see that just, got by and, it's all negative talk. It's like, you're never going to amount to something. You can't do this. You can't do that. Get those can't do people out of your lives.
Honestly, because those are going to be the 54 people that are still going to be broke. Those are going to be the percentage. Those are the people who are going to still be doing what they was doing in high school. It's a such thing as called your peak year. The most popular kids in high school right now, the ones who live for that thrill of being known, are pretty much peaking right now. The high school football player who won the state championship, who's going to be 55 watching Green Bay play on TV, talking about how he won the state championship and that should have been him. It's so many of those people on the planet, and they're going to continue to be on the planet because that level of success was enough for them. Now, don't get me wrong. Let's do this real quick, Daniel. What is the definition of success? What would be your definition of success? Just what defines success to you?
Success for me is being happy in all aspects of my life. I'm still shooting for success, right? I've hit milestones throughout my life, and I've been successful, but I'm still. I haven't hit what I want to hit, because at the end of the day, James, and I'll be honest, and this may sound stupid to some listeners and stuff like that, I don't know what that success is. That's what keeps me grinding and waking up every single day. So when I find success, I'll know it then. So
understood. And I think for me overall, if I had to define success in my own words, Um, now that I think about it, I don't know if they're all my own words, but it's definitely relatable. Read so much motivational stuff in my life.
Yeah.
Um, but
I will say while you're thinking about it, James, one aspect in my life that I am very comfortable and very successful is as a father. When Destiny was pregnant with our first child, I basically said to her, I said, I'll never miss a doctor's appointment. And my kids will never, ever look at me in my face and tell me that I wasn't there for them. And that, for me, I'm successful in
you're
that
successful.
aspect, right?
And
Because if your child can't look at you, if your child ever looks at you and says, Dad, Mom, you weren't there for me, that's a tough reality. I never want that ever.
yeah, it's definitely a tough reality. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are afraid to hear that. And now that you speak of it, I definitely want to say that success is the progressive realization of a worthy idea or goal. I think for me, if it's a worthy enough goal, if it's and if it's something that's progressively being prescribed or subscribed to your life, then I think it can be considered as success, because I think most people are successful in so many ways that they don't appreciate it. I think that's the thing about success that people don't realize. People are successful in so many different ways. A mother who wanted to have two kids and be a stay-at-home mom who has that lifestyle is successful in her goals. If it's an actualized goal or realization of something that could be achieved, I think that's success within itself, but it's
Yeah.
progressive. I don't think, like you mentioned, it's never done. That success is never done because it's a goal that's constantly changing, it's constantly moving. So I think for most people, they never learned, or they was never taught how to create a progressive goal. You know, I don't even think most people who graduated high school had to go to graduate. I think that was the goal for their parents. I think that was their parents' goal, and when they achieved it, it felt good. And then to go to college and say, "Hey, I think I can do this." Then they start to set real goals. But for those ones who started setting goals in middle school and realized what they wanted to do back then, and progressively knew the steps in the process they had to go through to get there, which finish high school, go to college, get a degree in this, they are the ones who had the upper hand because they
Yeah.
learned early enough to see how a progressive goal could get them to that next level way faster. I learned late. I learned late in life, a progressive goal, by progressive goals, writing them down, going after them. It took me a long time. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I would define success as.
I love it. I love it.
So, next question on the list, man. Um, can anyone have success? Just overall, can anyone have it? I guess that's the next question, because we talked about it, but can anyone get this, or will it be too late for some people to realize that they should have had it?
I think it's mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you mentioned it a couple of times, writing your goals down, writing your what you want to achieve, what you feel will be successful. I think we all have the opportunity. I think that a lot of us have more drive and more will than we give ourselves credit for. Um, I think we read into all the negative talk that is out there, and we listen to what they call the naysayers or whatever it is, right? Um, and we allow that to surround us and dictate what we do. So, it's for me, it's a mindset thing. I talk to the kids here. I know we talk to our partners and stuff like that as well. It's getting yourself in the right mind, knowing that you can do it. And again, I tell people all the time, and I tell our kids, I would rather see you fail giving maximum effort and fail 100 times over than just walk away from it. Prime example, like our son wanted to quit, was upset after a wrestling event. He wanted to quit. And I'm like, no. I'm like, it is more important for you to finish strong and be there so that you know what it is. I was like, at the end of the day, you finish through the season. You don't want to wrestle anymore. That's fine. But you're not going to quit, because again, it's like I told our wife, I said, this will pay dividends later in life.
Yeah,
If we
whether
give
it's
him, yeah.
I say,
Huh?
yeah, whether it's in wrestling or some other part of his life, it's going to pay off that he didn't give up when he wanted to. He didn't quit when he thought that he couldn't achieve something that he set his goals out to be. So let's say, for instance, his goal was to win that match, and that was going to be the defining factor in him going farther in his wrestling career. And that moment when he lost, he gave up. Giving up for that reason would be inevitable, and when it comes to him keep quitting in life, he would continue to quit every time he hit a brick wall or a wall.
James, that was my argument. My argument was, okay, so what if he's at the job and he doesn't like something? He's just going to quit?
Don't
Like,
quit.
that's
Yeah,
not that's not what's going to happen. You have a shift. Complete that shift.
complete that shift.
Exactly.
And there's a difference between realizing what you're doing isn't for you and then removing yourself from that situation. Like, it's not for me because I'm not it's not conducive for what I'm feeling, not because I didn't do what I wanted to do, but because I'm not feeling that this is going to be my calling. We all have a calling for something. Wrestling may not be it. Football may not be it. Basketball may not be it. Sports in general may not be it. It may be something. But the moment you realize you're quitting for the right reasons, the reasons why you're quitting shifts the structure of your DNA to say that I'm willing to do the hard part, even if even though I'm not connected to it, I'm going to see this journey through, and then I'm gonna go do what I need to do in a capacity that is right for me.
Yeah.
So for me, honestly, I see so many people quit on something that they really loved, but they ran into that brick wall. And then, as we just mentioned, they're sitting around 10 years from now and talking about how they could have been, how that was their situation. And also go back to what we talking about. How does your past determine your future? Well, right now you're creating a new past. Every moment from this point on, you're creating a new past. So every decision you're making from this moment is helping you dictate that next level of your future. Most people can't see this moment because they're living in the past. You're constantly thinking about where you come from and who did this to you and how you got treated this way, and it's hindering you from seeing the moment you have to make a choice that's going to get you to that next level. Laziness is in our DNA. Would you agree?
Oh,
Laziness.
100%, James. 100%. Look, I can tell you right now, James, and this is joking because I know we're talking about serious things, but you talk about laziness. I could go outside right now and play hide and seek with my kids, and they would never find me because they don't know how to play the damn game.
Yeah.
Okay, they just don't know how to play it, right?
Yeah.
You want to ride a bike? I will beat them in a bike race for sure. Like, they don't know how to ride a bike, I mean, it's just laziness, right? It really is, and it carries over. Try to get your child nowadays to mow the yard. Oh my God, it takes 3 days, like, to mow the yard. But again, love them. Not very successful in that aspect of things. But yeah, no, laziness it's all over the place, man. You know what I'm saying? We get drawn in by the Netflixes and the Hulus and all the TV stuff and all the ads and the TikToks and the Facebook, and we just sit there, and you don't want to get out there and go and grind and work and stuff like that. So laziness is 100% all over us. And again, it's the mindset. Do you want to have the mindset of a lazy person, or do you want to have the mindset of a grinder that gets out there and makes things happen?
Totally agree. Pleiadian Star says we are all processing in different ways. Oh, I totally agree. We're all processing in different ways, but what we're processing is all the same information. Everything we're processing is all the same. Like, no one is seeing anything different. I'm not seeing something different than Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett just processed it differently, and he processed it earlier. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't the first one who to sit in front of a computer and design what we are now using that's called Facebook or Meta. But he processed that information differently. We all process
They're
things
geared a
differently.
little different.
Yeah, and again, I totally agree. We all have the opportunity to process things differently, but what about the people who process and didn't realize they shouldn't be processing? There's a lot of us who have this exact same information, who can get up off our asses, make moves towards a greater future, and we're processing it, but we're just too lazy to actually adapt it. We're too lazy to actually put it in motion. That's the biggest thing about processing. I process everything, but how much of that information am I actually using? How much of that am I actually putting forth to be something outside of what I was told I was going to be, right? So I totally agree with your statement. But again, there's some more to that statement that we was missing. Overall, conformity is the reason why you're broke. And I'm saying that with love. I'm saying that with love because conformity is the biggest time wasting, energy draining um element of our existence. Conformity, thinking that you need to live like everybody else. If the majority of the world is saying, I need to go outside, I need to get in my car, I need to go to Walmart and spend thousands of dollars on stuff that's not even necessary. What makes you think you need to follow that path? What
Correct.
makes you think you need to be on that same ride with that person? I hear people all the time, Daniel, which is crazy, say, yo, I, I barely paid my rent last month, but we're having this conversation over martinis and mai tais and $30 plates, of seafood. It's like you want to go have a seafood bowl, which costs you get a one crab leg, a potato, and some noodles. And you spend $30 for this, but you're telling me over this meal how you can barely afford your rent. Our goals and our perception of what matters most is jacked up because 80% of the world is conforming to jacked up ideologies.
And James, I'll take it as opposite. So I don't like hanging out with that person, but I love the person and I respect the person more that says to me, "Hey, you know what? I can't afford it today. I'll catch you on the next turn." And I respect that person because then I can watch that person and then I'm like, okay, what is their motivation? What is their drive? What are their posts? What are they showing? They're not at the beach. They're not at the mall taking photos. It's all about like positive vibes on their feeds, and it's like, hey, today I'm waking up and I'm going to work and I'm making things happen. I 100% respect those individuals that do that. And again, I don't want you to just come out and hang out with me for dinner just to be my friend. If you're not in that situation, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's that mindset. Set yourself up for success and stop spending, funds when it's not necessary just to be cool. It's not cool.
It's not cool. I want to read a couple comments real quick.
Yeah,
B
I
Walker,
love B Walker's eighth place one because
yeah.
I have something
B
on
Walker
that.
said no because they're teaching our kids that you can come in eighth place and still get a trophy. I
Oh,
totally agree. They're teaching that, and it's taking away the value of a person who actually won the first place trophy. Excuse me.
James, I used to get beat up all the time by my wife, right? And you can take it how you want, but I used to tell my kids all the time, I'm like, nobody remembers second place. Who won the Super Bowl last year? Who came second in that race? You know what I'm saying? Like, not. I should have been saying it when they were like 1 and 2 and 3 years old, but like again, I always joke. They're like, "Oh yeah, Dad, you got a trophy in that?" I'm like, "Of course I do," but nobody knows who came in second place, right? So.
Indeed. I mean, honestly, because what it does is create a value system that, honestly, I don't want to go too far into this conversation, but it creates a value system of communism. Again, we are all equal no matter no matter how much work the next person put in. And you've seen this in school, maybe. I mean, I was even probably one of these people at one time where you get in a group and they say everybody contribute to the group project, and there's this one person in every group that does the most work but has to share the success of that project equally across the board. Now, I know you didn't do shit. You know you didn't do nothing, but we equally have to go up here and say, as a team, we won it together. Even though one kid never even showed up to the last day just to accept their award. Now, the value system of that, I think it takes away from the kids who feel like, listen, I worked hard for this team. I should be the team leader. So, not saying I deserve more, but just on the basis I should get that recognition, because what it does, it creates the value system that if you put in the hard work, you can be great just like that person. But even if you don't put in work, you're considered great just like that person, even if you didn't put in the work. So I don't support that system by no means. Dolores also said, I don't think it's ever too late to be a success. It's not always what you know, it's also who you know. True statement. True statement.
True. I mean, again, that goes back to what we just talked about, right?
Well,
Like surrounding yourself around, again, don't have to be successful people. I would take a hardworking grinder all day, every day over anyone out there with any type of education.
yeah. So my thing is, again, and I want to just hint on this a little bit, Dolores, because, and again, I can't fully read your intentions in this message wholly. So if you want to chime in if I'm wrong about this, but most of the time when I see this statement right here, the part it says it's not always what you know, it's also who you know. Most of the time when I hear this statement, the first thing people go to is the reason why I'm not successful is because I don't know Bill Gates. Bill Gates didn't give me the opportunity because we're not friends. You get what I'm saying, Daniel? Like
Yeah.
that statement can be used in multiple ways. It's like, but why you didn't put yourself in a position early enough to know the person you needed to know to get where you needed to be. Now, famously, the guy who owned Ford said, I don't know. I may not know how to build a motor. I may actually not know how to build my company the way it is built, but I know how to put the people around me for the knowledge. I know how to put the right people around me to do and get what I need to get for my company. Just because I'm not educated in certain things in my company doesn't mean I don't know how to put the people around me that can help me be successful in what I'm trying to get to. You know, so I can respect that notion that away, but I can't respect that notion when someone say I'm not where I'm supposed to be because I don't know the right people. That
Yeah.
I can't agree with. So
I agree with you, James. I think some of the most successful people in this world uh, haven't done it on their own. They have not done it on their own. They may have got to a certain point, but at a certain point, you can't do it on. You've got to surround yourself by like-minded people, people that are driven, that want to be successful and want to take a business or a program or an education, whatever it is, to the next level. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, I know Twitter's devalued quite a lot since purchase, but like Elon Musk, he just hired his new CEO to run Twitter. Like he's got to do that, right? He's better suited to let somebody else with a like-minded situation that has a track record of being successful, let them run ideas off of you. You give feedback, and use your mind somewhere else to
add
make a
value
gain
to the
somewhere else.
world.
Yeah.
Add value to the world, because it comes to a point where I feel like in every life structure, every path that everybody that's on their path to success, whatever your success is, if your success is just simply owning a couple of old school cars, living in, Van Nuys, and all you do is go skate on the boulevard or the boardwalk on the weekends, that's your success, that's your goals, that is totally fine.
Did you say Vans?
Van Nuys. Yeah, it's in California. So if that's your goals, if that's your goal, then that's your goal. But it's gonna come to a point in your life where you're gonna realize, is this all I can do? Is this all I'm giving back to society? I'm not a consumer to that degree anymore. I still consume? Yes, I do. That's just a habit that I've had. It's part of my past. My mother was a consumer. My grandma was a consumer. My sisters, everybody. My father was a consumer of drugs. It was it was a heavy consumer of drugs, but overall, I still have a consumer trait because that's what I conform to. Sometimes I conform to that. That's something that I have to continue to work on. Everybody has to work on something in their life, but it, it's not an excuse. Also, you said something earlier about giving up when it came to Sage. I actually posted this morning on my social media. It's like the crazy thing about success is there's always someone you can thank for your success. There's always someone you can give thanks to for helping you succeed, right?
Yep.
But you can never give blame for your to anyone for giving up. Like you can never give blame to anyone for giving up. That's totally on you. I can thank you. I can thank my wife. I can thank my daughter, friends for helping me succeed. But when it comes to giving up, all of that blame falls on you. All of that falls on you. You can never
Yeah,
pass that.
I can't say it better, James. You're absolutely right, 100% right. Right. Then what do? You know, do you pick yourself up? Do you try it again? Do you look at the situation or do you just walk away from it? You walk away from it, and that's the mindset you're going to have. What else are you going to walk away from?
Man, I refuse to walk away from anything else these days. That's just me.
Yeah.
I can't. If I set my mind to it, it's time to go for it.
Yeah.
It's time to see it through. So
And again, James, you're the type of person. I'm the same way. I would rather fail trying 100 times, and then on that 101th time, it's successful. It's the same feeling. You know what I'm saying? And the feeling may be even greater because I failed 100 times.
yeah,
But you know,
I love it, man. With that being said, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It was definitely a wonderful episode. And again, we are here every Monday and Thursday, 6:45 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. If you don't mind hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and the notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live. And if you're recurring, thank you. If you're new, thank you. Please drop a comment once this video ends. We look forward to seeing you all next week, and have a great weekend. And yeah,
yes, sir. Let's get to work.
indeed, time to make some money.
Yeah.